Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Laugh Lines and Turbulence. We're so happy to have you here and to have our special guest, Desiree Stanley. She is here to talk about infinite possibilities and stop setting, let me look at my thing, stop setting limits on yourself. And that's super important. So welcome, Desiree. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you,
Mhm.
Gina. Thank you, Debbie. I am
Thank you.
so excited to be here with you today. This is such a great idea. I love the concept that you have come up with, and I'm honored to be on the show and share this with you today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're so grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to read Desiree's bio really quick, just so you folks have an idea of where she kind of comes from. So, Desiree she's in her colorful patchwork of life. She's embraced the roles of wife, mother, and entrepreneur. She raised a family, pursued running, and now hosts engaging conversations on her podcast. And her podcast is amazing, and we'll post links to that when we're done here. As a business owner and podcaster, she provides valuable resources to her friends and community and shares insights from remarkable women to help others achieve their goals. And she has co-founded two successful e-commerce businesses. One launched in 2000 and sold in 2018, and the second established in 2012 with partners and is still operational. And we exited in 2023. I don't know what that means. And then life's too short not to dive headfirst into every adventure, and she's here for it. And I love
Mhm.
that
I love that.
statement. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gina. I appreciate that. And what does it mean to exit a business? It usually means that you've sold it in some form or fashion. And so
Got it.
that's what we did. We have given our partners our shares for, the value of all that we earned for the 12 years that we were running the business, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, and really, I think that in the bio I say, the patchwork of my life. I have done so many different things, and I just want everybody to try. That's the thing, is just try. You may like it, you may not like it. It's like what we tell our kids when they're growing up. Well, how do you know you're not going to like it if you don't try it? And so I think that's kind of been the motto of my life. Try
Mm,
it.
Love it.
Yeah.
love that. Yeah. And it's so true. We give great advice to our kids, and we should sometimes listen to our own advice, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us a little something about your journey with 50 plus. I mean, that's really our thing. How has that gone for you, and what changes have what things have you seen that you've done differently once you turn 50 and over?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so this year is 2025, right? So I am going to be turning 55 this year, December. So, depending on when the episode airs, I may or may not be 55 yet. But this journey has been so interesting. I mean, and I guess, I don't know if I want to get ahead of myself in this story, but I had to have a hysterectomy at 47 years of age, and I had fibroids, and that was what required that, because I had really awful periods and I was anemic because of it. And so it was like a necessity for me. And that really changed the experience, I think, that I had. Where a lot of women naturally going through, perimenopause and menopause and like that, not that it's ever easy, but more of a gentle transition into that. For me, it was a little bit different with that experience, but it's been interesting. There has been some ups and downs for sure. And I know
Mhm.
we chatted briefly before we started recording, and
Yes.
it's not always easy when you are going through menopause. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that happen with your body and with your brain and your emotions and your hormones and all of that that
Mhm.
can throw you for a loop.
For sure. And nobody ever tells you about that. No
Mm-mm.
one ever warns you or tells you. And I think, like you said, having a hysterectomy just kind of throws you like, into like the deep end of the water, just like boom. And that's a lot to manage. I give you, I mean, so much credit to manage all of that and then to find your purpose and then start taking off on how like that's so inspirational going through that and then being inspired enough to go through your purpose and do the things that you've done truly like
Mm.
that's inspirational.
Thank you. Thank you for
Mhm.
that. I think it's just, I wanted to do things anyway. It's like, we can let things stop us, but it's really us letting these things stop us. It's not the thing itself, it's the choices that we make around it. Like, are we going to allow that to keep us from doing what we want? And I just decided I wasn't going to. And so I'm just doing these things anyway. But, one of the things I wanted to share is that there's so many things I did at 40 and 50 and beyond that I never thought I would do. And number one, Gina, you read in my bio about running. I didn't start running until I was 40. I was the person in high school that could barely finish the mile. I was always last. I hated it. I'm sure you can, I don't know if you could relate to being last, but if you remember back in high school, how well we had to run a mile in PE. It was at 40, I decided I wanted to challenge myself and see, could I start running? Could I give it a go, and I found that Couch to 5K app. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's what really launched me into the whole running for this last 14 years of my life. And it all started with deciding I was going to try. And I used that app and it helped me get up off the couch and just start going. And it just takes you step by step, like slowly building. And for me, I think that's always been the way I like to do things. It's sort of methodical, step by step, a little bit at a time, growing and learning and building. And so that was it. It was starting running at 40 and then starting my podcast at, over 50 and then becoming an Amazon influencer just last year. It's like things I never ever thought I would do in a million years, but decided why not try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get over like did you ever experience imposter syndrome? Did you ever experience the who am I to start doing something like this? Because I think a lot of us uh I know I do deal with you have to fight the imposter syndrome. Like, who the heck do I think I am? I could start this or be, influence people or have a podcast or something. So what are some of your tips and your advice on getting over that hurdle?
Yeah, I have had a number of guests on my podcast who've talked about imposter syndrome and the
Mhm.
idea, the concept behind it. And I think that it's like the expression, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I don't think that I know more than anybody else, but I'm going to just try and I'm going to do it my way. And I think that's been the key for me is just
Mhm.
deciding that I'm not going to let what somebody else says or thinks about what I'm doing stop me. And, I'm sure there's people who have opinions about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Whether they've never shared it with me personally, but I'm sure they're, could be thinking it. But I just decided it just didn't matter. Like, I don't have time for that. There's
Mhm.
too many things I want to try, too many things I want to do. Life is way too short
Yeah.
to let somebody else's opinion about you stop you from doing something.
I
Mm.
love that. I love
Yeah,
that. And
it is.
it's so true. I have to ask you, so what's the longest distance that you've ran?
I've run two 50K trail races. So
What?
that's
That's
above
huge.
31 miles in total
Oh
distance.
my
And trail races are even more difficult because then there's elevation because you're running through mountains and whatnot. And so, yeah, and both of those races I ran when I was, well into my 40s. Um, I ran, in fact, one of the things I was going to mention is a couple of the marathons that I ran. My very first one, I was 46, I think, when I did it. Finished that in like, 5 hours or something. And it was like, it just took everything out of me. But when you're done with something like that, the amount of pride that you feel in that accomplishment is just tremendous. I mean, I can't tell people enough, like just try. You don't
Mhm.
have to run a marathon. You don't have to run
Right.
50K.
Right.
If it's like me when I started and you can't run a 5K, just start with that, start with a
Yeah.
mile, whatever. But there's just nothing like it. And so when I ran, I wanted to see if I could beat my time on that same course. So a few years later, I tried again. And I did. I beat my time by about 20 minutes. So, I was really proud of that
Yeah.
because it's like you just never know until you try. And I wanted to push myself and see if I could. And a couple of things I have to share about this because that year was something else. It was a really stormy winter and spring. We were having just constant rains and we had to run through it. And it's no
Mhm.
fun when you're just completely drenched running these distances, but it really made a difference in the race we ran. And I'll tell you
Yeah.
about that in a minute. But my running partner, we were like kind of on a track because we were on the side of a road and we
Mhm.
were running front to back. And she starts laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny? And she goes, "You've got bubbles coming out of your butt." And I'm like turning around, looking at her like, well, what are you even talking about? And she goes, "I don't know what it is. It's like maybe it's soap or something." And I realized uh maybe I'm using too much laundry detergent. And it's like the agitator in the washing machine, right? The water and the running, and it just made soap into bubbles. And so
Yeah.
that was something else. I'm telling you, it was too much. But
That's
that race, we ran through lightning and thunder and just pouring rain. There was hail at one
Where was
point.
this at? Where was this? Where
It
was?
was, yeah, it was in Santa Cruz, California.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you think like, oh, California, it's sunny there all the time, right? Wrong. I mean, first of all,
Yeah.
this is Northern California, but
Yeah.
it was kind of springtime, and so we were just really having some storms that year.
Okay.
But I still managed to beat my time and had a really great race. Really interesting, something I will never forget.
Aw, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's incredible to hear.
It's almost like an analogy to life though, right? Because
Mhm.
we have to go through these storms
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
things that
Yeah.
are uncomfortable and things that aren't pleasant.
Mhm.
But it's staying the course. I just like I while you're talking, I'm thinking she's writing a book about this.
Yeah.
Because it really does align with how
Yes.
life goes. Mm-hmm.
And I love the
I find it
humor
funny.
behind it. I love the
Yeah,
humor behind it too, like the bubbles, the
Yeah.
bubbles.
funny. And you were clean when you were done.
Yeah, did you even have to wash your shorts? Did you like even say, "Hey, they're done"?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And here's the thing is that it was cold too. So
Okay.
we were wearing just like long pants
Uh,
and, shirts and jackets and stuff too because of the temperature.
right.
So, I mean, it was just awful. And running through that it gets really, really hard and it makes it something that's challenging, even more challenging. But
Yeah.
when you've got a goal, it makes
Yeah.
all the difference in you actually accomplishing something through those hard
Yeah.
times,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. And that's amazing to see you beat your own time. That's
Mhm.
something that you're like, no, I can do even more. I can even push myself and to see like the determination and what your body will do. For
Mhm.
me, it's weightlifting, like deadlifting. Like my husband and I lift weights. I am passionate about that, like you're running. And when I like reached like at like almost a 200-pound deadlift, it seemed like anything under that was like easy, like yeah, I'm sure for you, like once you reach that, like this, like I can't even believe that I've made it like this far, and it just made everything else, like look so much easier, like that. If I could do that, I could do 100, I could do 150, and like you did your distance, that's an amazing feeling.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And the thing about trying is like you just never know what your
Right.
body is capable of
Yeah.
unless you push it to just beyond what you
Yep.
think is possible. And
Yep.
I really do think it's a metaphor for life. It's like if
I agree.
Truly is.
you just
And
never know.
speaking of pushing your body too, in a way, when we get in over the age of 50 and into that menopause stage, I think we go through such a mental and physical transition, emotional transition. And a lot of times you'll get so many different views from other women our age, like we need to settle down, or we need to just, they're already imagining you sitting in the rocking chair and just, rocking your life away. But I think, I was talking to an aunt of one of my aunts, and I said, motion is the lotion.
Mhm.
I go, when I was sitting behind the desk for 8 hours a day, I was sore. I was
Mhm.
still sore. So what's the difference whether I'd rather be sore being active and doing things and pushing my body and getting my joints lubricated than being sore by doing nothing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know?
you're right. And we have that choice. Which
Yeah.
way are we going to go? And I think that, and I'm so glad that things are changing, that we're not
Mhm.
expected necessarily to just sit in the rocking chair and do nothing.
Right.
It's a little bit more like people are freer to do the things they want to do.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think that everybody's going like you're just going to do nothing when you retire, although there are some people that do that.
Right.
I feel like it's a little bit more open to people pursuing their passions and doing the things
Yeah.
that they want to do. So we have the choice. Are we going to sit and do nothing, or are we going to
Mhm.
sit, or try to do some
Mhm.
other thing, whatever it is?
Mhm. Mhm.
But we I don't know. I think you're right. We could be sore just sitting there doing nothing, or we could be sore trying to push our body and see what it's capable of. And I'd rather do that than
Yes. Yeah.
the former.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I would rather feel that soreness than the soreness I just laid around today.
Mhm.
Like I do get that too. I lay around, but I'm just saying I would rather be, like saying, all right, I'm sore, but I've done this, this, and this. So
Yeah,
Well,
for
I think
sure.
it's so much more than the distances that you've gone, which that's so
mhm,
remarkable, and
mhm.
just such an achievement. But the example that you're setting for other women around
Yeah.
you that's I think if you look deeper into, the inner part of that, it's actually doing that. It's
Yeah.
paving the way. It's setting an
Mhm,
example that you can do
mhm.
anything you set your heart to,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
That it's not too late. Some people have the idea
Yes.
that it's too late.
Yeah.
But, something like this, like, starting at age 40, my gosh, it's like, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is not just the age, but like my body type. I do
Mhm.
not look like a typical runner. And if you saw me, most people would be like, really? You run? Like I have short legs, short little body, barely 5'3", and it just doesn't matter. I mean, I'm
Right.
not the fastest person out there by any stretch, okay? I don't think that really matters. I think the fact that you're doing it and that you're doing the distance, that's really all that matters. I
Yeah.
mean, the mile is a mile, whether it's a 5-minute mile or a 13-minute mile, it's still a
Right.
mile.
Yep. This is true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, I did a race in Maine. It was a half marathon, and there was a guy who walked, and he walked faster than I could run. I never saw him again when he passed me, and he
Oh
did this like really super fast walk, and he kind of wiggled when he walked, and I'm like, how is he doing that? So I even like have tried that, and but like you said, everybody has their own vision and their own like end goal to
Yeah.
what they want to take away from whatever it is that they're doing.
Mhm.
So some people want to be the first place winner in a race, and other people want that feeling of accomplishment or seeing, can I beat my time from the last time? So
Right.
yeah, I love your take on it, Desiree, and that, you know, you don't have to be the first place winner, but the fact that you are just going for it and proving to yourself that you can do it.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. And you know, the thing too about running, and it maybe isn't for everybody. Okay. I'm a proponent because I just think it's an amazing experience. And being out in nature, you know, doing the trail runs, especially, I mean, you're looking around at the world and realizing you're a part of it, you know,
Mhm.
enjoying the smells and seeing the animals that are in the forests or wherever you're running. It's
Right.
just an amazing thing that connects you. And so it really is a physical, it's an emotional, it's a mental, spiritual, if you
Spiritual,
will, you
yeah.
know, it's the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What now before 40 and before you started getting into before you started running and uh be doing your podcast, what did you do before you got into your entrepreneurship and your podcast and your influencing?
Yeah.
Like what career
So
path did you have?
Uh, I actually went to school to be a psychologist. I got my
Okay.
degree in psychology. My dad ran a construction company, and so I started doing accounting for him. And that kind of became the thing that I did for a long time. My husband and I started a business in 2000, and I did the bookkeeping and kind of back end stuff. You know, early days of eBay and PayPal. And so we were shipping a little product to 5, 6, 7 customers a day. And then it blew up once we started, the iPhone came out and we started doing how-to videos on how to repair your iPhone. And we sold parts for people to be able to do it themselves with the videos that my husband created. And so, you know, we ultimately employed a number of people. And, you know, we really, I think it was an amazing example again of just try. And my husband was working a full-time job and we were kind of doing this on the side. My daughter had just been born and she's in a pillow, you know, on my lap as I'm on the computer trying to like copy and paste people's information to ship boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
But we just tried and it grew and grew. And then just, yeah, like I said, ultimately it blew up. We had, I don't know, 60,000 no 60 million views on our YouTube channel on how
Wow.
to, you know, take apart the different things
Yeah.
and put them back together. So it really
Wow.
was an amazing experience. But we did that until, you know, 2018. My older daughter at that point was gone off to college. My younger daughter was in middle school, and I was working for the other business that we had started in 2012. And so, again, just kind of doing that accounting, HR, sort of back end stuff related to the business. But it was like, is this all I want to do? Is just work on these, you know, accounting figures? And I didn't think that that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Right.
And it was about that time that I decided I really love real estate. We have been fortunate enough to buy and sell a number of homes. We've purchased rental properties, and I was like, I want to help other people be able to do that too. And so I studied for and got my real estate license in 2019. And so, you know, that's kind of when I got into the real estate career and growing that. And then 2020 happened. And so, you know, through all of that for a loop. But really, I mean, we've all learned a lot because of that. And the tools that have come out because of that, I think makes it incredibly easy for people to start businesses now
Yeah.
where it was way more difficult before. There's
Yeah.
so many great things, tools, software programs. I mean, you
Right.
name it to make it possible for people to start businesses.
Mhm. I think
Um,
that's incredible what you said too, like during a time like that where it created something that we see as something bad happening, something good coming out of it.
yeah.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
you taking that and saying, I'm going to make some lemonade from these lemons and do something different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's completely a choice, right?
Yeah.
We can absolutely use that as an excuse to stop us from doing something, or just, giving up on it because, well, it looks like it's insurmountable. Like there's no way I can get around this. But we don't have to look at it that way. And, I had a guest on my podcast and we were talking about this idea of sometimes we're so close to a problem, it looks like it's a million miles high and there's no way we're going to get over that. But we forget to look at how wide is this problem. And maybe we can just peek around. And now we found we can get around this super easy. It's just how we look at the problem, right?
Yeah, that
Love that.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at your bio too, over here, the section of like the books that you have found inspirational and helpful and that you would recommend over the age of 50. I love your book list, by the way. So those are some of my favorites as well. So some of the ones that are like the definites for you, and if you can, share with us, what would you recommend?
Oh my gosh. Off the top of my head, I love Mel Robbins' new book, The Let Them Theory. And I know she's gotten a lot of pushback from people on this, but for me, it really speaks to me because I know that we cannot control other people. We cannot control anyone but ourselves. And
Yeah.
so when, we of course don't want to see people struggle and go through hard times and, experience terrible things. We want to be able to help people. But there's like a limit of what we can do for other people, right? And so then we have to make a choice about how we're going to act, behave, the things that we're going to do, right? So that's absolutely one of my favorite. I think just it really does speak to me and how I try to live my life. I know I can't change anybody else's mind about something. I can't convince them of anything. I can't, whatever, but I can change myself and how I choose to respond to it.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. And I'm going to turn real quick and look at my bookshelf.
Sure. Sure.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The Power of Now is so great,
Yes.
That's
right?
It's one of my favorites. I love that one.
Yeah.
That's
And Wayne Dyer, everything
Oh.
by Wayne Dyer.
Yes. Looking back at my bookshelf too, I think I love Wayne Dyer. But I think it's also like being open to exploring books like, books that we think, like the Mel Robbins or Wayne Dyer and The Power of Now is like, I think expanding your library too is, I got, when I turned 50, I got hooked on the Wayne Dyer. I found Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, and some The Untethered Soul was another one that really changed my life. And then it's almost like I'm glad I found it at 50 instead of never finding that kind of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, where have you been all my life, Wayne Dyer? Kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, those
Yeah.
are great.
The thing that just made me think right there when you said that is that idea of when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yes.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
I would just told my girlfriend this yesterday. She's going through something. And I told her, I says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And you just gave me chills because that is
Mhm.
one of my favorites too. Yeah. And then, you know what? I think it's remarkable. Like, yeah, we've gained, and like this podcast, like inspiration, wisdom, and humor, we've gained so much wisdom, and we really
Mhm.
should be proud of ourselves of how we found, how we managed through life. And then when we reached 50 and above, how we have gained all this wisdom through other women, through books, and through other sources. And now we have so much to share.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And,
Uh-huh.
the podcast, I was thinking for a really long time on what I could do to showcase the amazing women that I knew that had so much incredible knowledge and information that I was like, how can I get them as much publicity or as many eyeballs or ears or whatever, hearing what they have to say. And so that's when I decided a podcast was the best way to do that. And
Mhm.
it's been transformational for me, so much. I think I've learned from every single guest I've had on the show, and that they can now share this information with my audience and people who need to hear what they have to share. They're getting it now, and it's so important to me to be able to share information,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. I love that. I love that how you said sharing information, and I think that's Gina and I, right, Gina? That's what we love to do is just we're constantly sharing information, constantly, helping other women share their knowledge. And when you said you've learned from each podcast, Gina and I, sometimes when we're done, we're just like, oh my goodness, like we have learned so much
Yeah.
through every single guest that we have had. We have learned something and so grateful for that. It's really, yeah, I've
And
got like go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say so many women are
Yeah,
doing so many remarkable things, or they've had just these incredible journeys. And I agree with you, Desiree. Like, let's highlight them and lift them up, and so we can help lift other women up through
yeah,
your experiences.
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. And Gina, I've had you on my show twice because it's so important to laugh. I mean, we're going through some heavy, heavy times right now, and
Now,
we have got to remember to find joy and laughter and, that camaraderie. We've
Yeah,
got to have community. We need to be together. It's the only way that we're going to lift each other up and, make
right.
it through challenging times.
yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
I might be hitting you up for a future anthology with the bubbles coming out off their shorts. Story.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Another story from running. We did this one trail race and we just kept going around the same group of trees. Like we just were so lost. It was like that National Lampoon's European thing where they're in that endless circle.
The
He couldn't get
roundabout.
out. Yeah,
Roundabout, yeah.
Big Ben, Parliament, look, kids,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
finally we came across some people and they're like, no, 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 you need to go that way. And it was like, oh my gosh. So you know what we did? We took sticks and things we found on the ground and we made giant arrows so that people would go the correct way because
Wow.
it just was not
Awesome.
marked. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's another one of those lessons, right? You can just keep
Yeah,
going on the same loop
yeah.
that you're going on, or you can get some help from somebody and then find the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Mm, I
Oh
do,
my
yeah.
gosh.
I love
So
the little sticks and the arrows. It's like
Yeah.
this.
well, and it makes sense. Like our trails up here in Duluth, some of them have they're color coded and they have like you just have to look for like the blue if you're on this one trail. But if you didn't have that, you would be
Mhm.
like lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just kept going around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But again, it just makes for those experiences though that you'll never forget. So in one way, it's like, did we have to go through that? But then on another, it was just like it's funny and it's a story now
Yeah,
that we share that we get a
yeah.
Yeah.
kick out of.
Yeah.
And I think when you're out in the in nature too, like you kind of feel like you're in the wild, and you get back and
Love that.
Yep.
you just feel like I'm in the wild. I'm living in
I
the
love that. Love
yeah.
it. Desiree, was there an aha moment once you hit 50 or over?
Mm.
Like something that really resonated with you?
Hmm. I'm not sure that I ever had an aha moment. I think everything has kind of been a progression. It's like one thing led to another. My podcast, I had a bit of a leg up because my husband had been podcasting already. So I
Uh,
did, have some help there. I got
right.
the right microphone, the right camera, I knew what software to use. When I started getting into the Amazon influencer program, it was another thing. Like we had been in the Amazon world for a long time, and my husband had not so gently been like prodding me, why aren't you doing this? You should be doing this. And I just decided, you know what, he's right. I should just try. And I think initially I was concerned about doing it because I didn't know how I would be on camera. When I do the podcast, most of the time I have my guests on screen and I just pop up every once in a while when I ask a question. But I was like, again, I'm just not going to know unless I try. And,
Yeah.
I want to help people. I want to help people understand what products to look for. Are they going to get a good thing? How's it going to fit? What's it going to look like? Is this the best deal? And so that's what I remember when I'm doing these things. It's like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this? It's to help somebody else. So the podcast, how can I help as many women as possible learn and grow and, share this information that these amazing people have to share? And then, how can I help people find good products at a good price that
Yeah.
look good, fit right, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So everything has just been kind of I would say a natural path.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I
That's
think that what you said there with your why, and everybody like you hear that through the entrepreneur world and classes and different things, but really honing in on your why. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And it really drives for success if you have purpose behind what you're doing. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, 100%. Because we all have days where we just are not feeling anything that we're doing. Like, I don't even want to do this today.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you're tired, you don't feel well, it's just
Right.
bleh. But when you look back and you think about why is it that I'm doing this?
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the thing that you need to get up and keep moving.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. The why and get up and moving, because when you remember the purpose of why you want to do it, I think it just gets you even more passionate. You just feel that little fire inside you and like, everybody needs to hear this message. And everybody, you do have a message. Like you have everybody has their purpose and what message they want to, give to, have everyone hear, or just like what the experience you have. But yeah, I love the passion behind your why too.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Desiree, if you had a message to give your younger self
Mhm.
or women who are younger, 20s, 30s, what would that message be?
I think it goes back to you just have to try. You may not be a success at it. It may not work for you. You may not like it. You don't know unless you try. So
Right.
you might as well. And it's amazing what you discover about yourself when you do. I mean, you really learn about what you like, what you don't like, what fuels you, what just takes all your energy. And it's like, just do it. You want to start painting? Do it. You want to start a
Yeah.
business? Do it. You've got an idea, write about it, whatever. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you learned through that process. And that's a quote that I love from, oh gosh, I'm gonna forget who it is,
Brain
but
fog, brain
basically,
fog.
yeah.
Hey, what
Oh,
thoughts with you?
hello, brain fog. Yeah.
We
Um,
understand.
it's not the end goal that changes you. It's who you become through the process
Yeah.
of reaching that goal that makes you, like who you are, who you're going to become. You
Right.
learn so much and you grow through whatever process, whether it's good or bad, you
Right.
grow through that and you become who you're supposed to be on the other side. And so I would say try, just go for it.
I love that. And I've heard time and again, and I truly believe this. It's if it's something that doesn't work out, you didn't fail. It's
Mhm.
not that's a perspective that we've got to pull ourselves like that failure mindset and that go to what have I learned? What did I learn through this process? What can I take into my next experience? So I
Right.
love that you said that about learning, you learn as you go through this and you grow.
Yeah. It's not failure, it's feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love to think about it that way. I mean, no, it
Yeah.
doesn't feel good in the moment. In the moment, you're just like, oh man, gosh, you're disappointed, you're frustrated, you're angry, whatever emotions that you're having
Yeah.
through that experience. But when you take the time to go through that, okay, I'm not saying just don't feel your feelings, but when
Right.
you reflect back on it and you start to dig into what happened and how did you feel through it and what did you learn from it, it makes you better.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Yeah.
Love
You
that.
learn a lot about yourself too
Hmm.
Mhm.
during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, and so we were just tossing around brain fog. So let's talk about what else happens. Hot flashes,
Yeah.
um, night sweats,
Yeah.
mood
Oh,
swings. Oh my
rage,
gosh.
Tell us about
rage.
your hair. Tell us about your hair,
Yeah, your
Desiree.
hair.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Debbie, I think I heard you saying like rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a thing for me too. And I
Yeah.
think it was kind of this combination that was set off because of the brain fog. Like I could
Yeah.
hardly string a sentence together and I would
Yeah.
get so angry and frustrated that I would just be like, I'm going to flip this table right now because I
Yeah.
just can't express myself.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's a big, big thing that happens when we
Yeah.
are in that perimenopause, menopause. And
Oh,
I mean, I've
yeah.
had great guests on my podcast talking
Yeah.
about it, and there's so much coming out now, and I'm so thankful
Yeah.
for that.
Mhm.
So much more information that we
Yeah.
can learn about what is happening.
Yeah.
But yes, my hair is completely different now. Within the last 6 months, it's gone from completely straight to where like I had to curl it with an
Wow.
iron to make it do anything to it looks
Yeah.
like this now.
Well, it's
And
so cool because usually during menopause, women complain about less hair. So
oh,
you
Yeah.
got really lucky that, you got all that volume.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I use Nutrafol, so there's
Okay.
a tip.
Okay.
I use the shampoo and conditioner, and I take their vitamins for
Okay.
women over 50 who are losing their
Oh,
hair.
Done. Let me
is
write
it
it
Yep.
down.
is it that working pretty good then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
I've been using it for a number of years now, and I really feel like it has helped
That's amazing.
And,
to
and
stop
'cause-
the loss.
yes, I was going to ask you, what did you do to manage through your symptoms? Like, what route did you go to? Because there's right now with all the research out there and the studies and everything that, like Gen X menopause women are coming out big
Yeah.
time. Thank God. So you cannot
Yeah.
hold us back. Okay.
No.
So there's so many different ways to manage those symptoms. So I mean, if you don't mind sharing, like what are
Yeah.
some of the things that you have done to manage your symptoms too?
Sure, sure. Well, first thing I'm going to say is I'm not a doctor. You need
Yes.
to talk to your doctor. You
Right.
have
Right.
specific health things that you need to be addressing with your doctor in this
Correct.
conversation. For me, again, I had that hysterectomy at 47. It totally changed everything
Right.
for me. So initially it was I didn't do anything, and then eventually I got to a point where I was like, I can't live like this.
Right.
So I talked to my doctor about like an estrogen patch, and so I did that
Mhm.
for a while, and it helped me a little bit, but it wasn't the full solution for me. And so ultimately, I work with my doctor on hormone pellet therapy,
Yeah.
and so this is replacement therapy, but they're pellets that are inserted in your
Mhm.
skin, and so it's like slow release, and it
Yeah.
covers a range of estrogen,
Right.
progesterone, testosterone, all of that
Yes.
to
Yes.
balance your hormones.
Yes.
And we do blood tests. We're
Yes.
constantly regulating all of that to make sure that everything's looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really made the difference for me and how
Yeah.
I live my life.
Mhm.
Well, it's wonderful that you found something that works for you, and I was just reading. I just watched a YouTube. Dr. Kelly Casperson is a gynae urologist, and they just went to the FDA yesterday to get approval for testosterone for women because it helps with dementia, bone fracture, muscle mass, things like that, low dose. So they want to start getting the FDA to approve some things. But I mean, I think it's wonderful that women now, we're having these conversations and having options. And like you said, yeah, always talk to your doctor. I mean,
Yes.
it's like, don't go get your estrogen on the streets, It's just like, speak to your physician.
Do they sell that on the streets?
No, but you never know. I don't know. But I was like, just, and like you said, the balance of hormones, which help you eat like the pellets. And there's so many options, like, Desiree said, just talk to your doctor. I had an episode where I was just telling Gina, like, I'm a flight attendant and I was
So
escorting
funny.
I was a score. I'm a flight attendant, and I had a 8-year-old girl on my flight that was flying by herself, and I, went to escort her off the aircraft to meet her family. She was with her grandparents for 2 weeks, and then her parents were waiting for her at the gate, and their parents, as we're walking down the jetway, I'm, walking with her, and the parents have a sign that says "Welcome home, Princess." This was a week ago. I started crying. I'm walking down the jetway and I see the sign and I'm crying and the tears, I couldn't hold back the tears. And then I get to the mom and the mom is teary eyed, but I'm weeping. And I'm like, your daughter was amazing. She was so sweet. And the mom's like, thank you so much. Are you okay? And I said, yes. And I go, I'm going to be okay. I just have a fresh estrogen patch on.
Yes. Yes. I get it.
Yeah, and I was like, I walked back like, oh my God, like like I went from rage, in perimenopause, when I was going through menopause to like just weeping over the December.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It really is something. And,
Yeah,
I think my experience with my mom like never told me anything about menopause or perimenopause at all. I mean, she talked to me more about when I was going to get my period
right.
than ever, going through the
Yeah,
change, that was coming on the other side. And I think that, you're right. Gen X, we're not having any of this. We want to know. We want as
right.
much information as we can so we can make
Yeah,
informed decisions about our bodies and what was happening with our life. And
right.
so I think the conversation has really blown up. There's so many
Yeah,
people talking about it, and I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely talking to my girls about it because they need to understand, this is a part and process of what our body goes through, but not to
mm-hmm.
go into it blind and not
Right.
understanding what's happening because it can be like you wonder what the heck is going on with you. Like,
Mhm.
who are you even? Like,
Yeah,
I was never that like anger, rage filled kind of
yeah,
person. I've always had a tremendous amount of patience. And I was just like, what is happening to me? And so it can be very scary.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
No,
yeah.
definitely. You're
And
right.
and you think about our mothers, that
Mhm.
their mothers probably likely did not speak to them about it. So they're probably wondering what's going on. And because
Yeah.
it's very overwhelming. I know when I
Mhm.
started having hot flashes, I was so overwhelmed, but I was getting all these barrage of symptoms, dizziness and all.
Mhm.
And it was like you said, unbearable.
Yeah.
I couldn't live like that. It wasn't living. It wasn't living a quality of life.
No.
So, mhm.
But it's good, great that we are talking about it. That's the one thing is the conversations. We're not, and like you said in the beginning of Desiree, what you said, like when we asked you, what are you doing to manage that? And you're like, I'm not a doctor. And I love how we're letting everyone know, have that conversation with someone, have that conversation with if you're not feeling well, advocate for yourself and talk to your physician, you
Mhm.
know, and be open and have that conversation. I make jokes about, oh my gosh, even I'm starting to make jokes more about menopause and stuff like that, even, my job. And I know, like, even the pilots ask, is the plane too hot? I'm like, I'm never going to be too hot. I'm from Chicago and I'm in menopause. Please turn the air on because it's like,
Yeah. Oh my
but
gosh.
yeah,
And Right, right.
Yeah.
But to your point, Gina, I think that for our mothers and grandmothers, I
Yeah.
don't know that they could even talk to their doctors about it.
Right.
You know, most of the doctors were men.
Yeah.
They never did any studies on women. It's like, you
Yeah.
know, they didn't really even understand. And if they did, it was just like absolute gatekeeping. So I
Yeah.
think now we're in a position that they know so much more because we're studying what's
Mhm.
happening with women's bodies and, you know, we're understanding it more. So, and women have more women doctor options. And so we can
Yes.
talk, we can feel a little bit more comfortable talking to our doctors about what's happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Debbie, you're right. You have to be an advocate for yourself. If you are getting pushback and you know, it's like, no, my quality of life is suffering. I
Yes.
will not tolerate this. We need to figure
Right.
out what's going on. And you
Yeah.
have to do that for yourself.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Desiree, if people want to learn more about what you're doing or your journey or how you can help them, where's the best place that they can reach you?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, come listen to the podcast. Gina's been on it twice now. Pockets of Knowledge podcast. It is amazing. It's bite-sized information, health, fitness, finance, philanthropy, art, entrepreneurship. We
Ooh.
cover so many topics. Just amazing women who know so much and have so much to share and give. So check that out. I'm on Instagram at Desiree D. Stanley. You can follow me there. I share the podcast, I share products, I share what I'm doing on there. I also have a Facebook page you can follow. It's Savvy Shopper Tips. So
Mm.
it's again where I talk about different products. I share things there, you know, from Amazon. So you can check that out as well. And
Wonderful.
yeah, any of those places.
That sounds
We
great.
have
I
your
have,
link tree and
yeah,
and your sites that we're going to share
yes.
with the episodes too. So we're going to put those links on that as well when we post the episode.
Yeah,
Perfect.
definitely. And I have watched Desiree's videos of her product. I don't want to call it advertising, but the demonstrations and how the product's working. And you do amazing on the video. So thank you for sticking with it.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, and it's again, you try, you get better. You try, you get better. I mean, it's the
Oh,
same thing we tell our kids, right?
yeah,
You're gonna
exactly.
fall on your first time riding a bicycle. You're gonna get better at it. Just trust us.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the same thing. It's like, no, initially I wasn't any good at podcasting. I was nervous and, you know, things didn't work right, but you learn and you get better at it. It's
Yeah,
life.
Yeah, yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure.
Well,
Yeah.
Desiree, thank you so much for joining us. We are so honored to have you here. I've loved being a guest on your podcast and just the friendship that we've built. So, but thank you
Mhm.
so much for sharing your pockets of knowledge with our followers. And
Uh-huh.
yep, we will definitely put those links in the post for anyone who's tuning in and wants to learn more. So, and
Thank you.
I recommend Desiree's podcast. It's amazing. So,
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Desiree. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you, ladies.
yeah, thank you.